Okay, so welcome. Today's session incorporates a standing balancing pose. So I'm going to use a wall for that, so it's probably good if you have a empty wall space that you can use as a prop. And then just the normal, a couple of blocks of the yoga blocks and a belt and a chair will be very handy. And let's begin then. Take a lying down position on your mat and have near to you a block and a belt. And once you're lying down, then bend your knees into you. So your feet off the floor, knees towards your chest. Have one hand at the front of each knee. And then make some little circles with your knees, which obviously incorporates your thigh bones into your hips. And you'll be able to feel this into your sacrum and your lower back as well. And then take that the other direction. These warm-up movements for the base of your spine and for your hips. And then pause in the center, separate your knees, and then circle the knees in to center and out again. Your lower legs are just kind of hanging loose. Just a small movement into the hips. And then go the other way. Good. Pausing in the center again, and rest your 2 feet on the ground. And let's do some bridge poses, and that's where one of those blocks will come in handy. And place your block in between your thighs, just above your knees. I've got my block turned so that it's mid-range, not narrow, not wide, but in the middle. And then hug in against the block with a little bit of pressure. It doesn't take a lot, but it kind of begins to wake up the inner thigh muscles. So from here, and in preparing for the bridge, press your feet down firmly, and then start to do a little lift off. As you start to elevate your hips, your buttocks tuck under, and coming up just as much as your back is prepared to do just this early part of the session, and then lowering back down to the ground. And let's do that for 3 or 4 times so that it truly feels like you're warming up your spinal column from the base and towards the upper part of the back. And the next time that you do your lift off and your hips are elevated, then also take your arms overhead and feel a 2-way stretch then. Your elevated hips and moving the thighs towards your knees and the hands away from the legs and the torso. And then come right down again and bring your arms back to where you started and just resting the arms by the side of the body. Let's do a couple of those so that it feels like a cross stretch. The legs away from the arms away from the legs. You could just do this for one phase of the breath, inhaling, coming up, and exhaling, returning to ground. And this next time, just rest there. And we're finished with the block for the time being. Leave that to the side. Now you'll need the belt shortly, so have it next to you. But let's start with just bending your right knee into your chest. Reach and hold behind your right knee or onto the thigh behind the knee and extend the leg up towards the ceiling. You can keep a slight knee bend if you're not ready to extend the hamstrings completely. And with the leg elevated like this, just have a look at your foot, our beautiful servants of our body, our feet, and then do toes down towards your knee, toes up towards the ceiling. In anatomy, plantarflexion, dorsiflexion. It's a really lovely exercise for your ankles. And as you toes up and toes down, feel the influence of that movement on your leg muscles as well. The front leg stretches, the back leg stretches alternately. Good, and then pause from that movement and circle your foot. As much or as little as you want. Again, ankle, foot bones, toe bones, all circling. And then the other way. You might notice, like I'm noticing, just a tiny bit of clicking in my ankle joint. And then bringing that movement to a standstill. There's one other possibility of movement here. We're just warming up the joints of the foot. Turn your foot so that it faces in, and then rotate your foot so it faces out. And it makes sense that this is called inverting your foot and everting your foot. One way is easier when I invert than when I evert. Just exploring movements. Beautiful. And then let's do all that over again, all over again on the left leg and foot. So holding behind the thigh of the left leg, extend the leg up towards the ceiling. Have a look at your lovely foot again. And let's start with that up and down movement of your foot. When your toes are down, your heel is up. When your toes are up, your heel is down. And into the circling movement. And as always, the two feet can be quite different in their capacity for movement. And then take that circling the other direction. Good, and pause there in the center, leg extended, and then turning your foot in, turning your foot out. So that's a rolling movement for your ankle, but all your bones of your feet and your toes are involved in this too. Okay, good enough. And then pause in the center. Let's go back to your right leg and take up your belt this time. Bend your right leg into your chest and hook the belt over the ball of the right foot. So not so much on the arch of the foot, but more towards the toes, the base of the toes. And then take a two-handed grip onto the belt, and let's work in a static stretch through the right leg. So as you're extending that leg, now you are in hamstring territory. But still feel that the right leg is connected with your right hip, as though that thigh bone sits neatly into its hip, and feels grounded right at the top of the right thigh. Take a breath or two in fully extending the leg, maybe extend a little bit more behind your knee, and then pass the belt just to your right hand. Take the right leg out to the right. My left leg is still bent with my left foot onto the floor. Drop your left knee to the left as you take your right leg to the right. So an opportunity for both groins to open up here. And let's hold that as a static stretch out to the right side, where the weight rests evenly on the back of your pelvis. Can you feel that? If you're a little tilted to one side, see if you can right your balance back to center. Good. Let's bring that leg all the way up, and the left foot's flat on the floor again, and then pass the belt to your left hand, and let's allow for the right leg to move in front of the left leg, the bent leg, and over to the left side. So we're looking for a diagonal stretch along your right leg, stretching the outside of your hip as well, and the IT band. Good. Let's bring that leg back up to the center. We've done a lovely warm-up for that leg. Let's see what it feels like. Touch the foot down to the floor again. Extend out both legs. And do a little comparison in the sensation, right leg, left leg. So I can feel my right hip and right leg for me much more open. And then let's go all over again on that left side, bending both legs, both feet on the floor to start initially, and then left knee towards your chest and belt up the left foot. Two-hand grip. When you hold the belt like this, in yoga we try to relax the parts that are not working and work the parts that need to work strongly. So at the moment you can have a light grip onto the belt, your shoulders relax back to the floor, and then feel into the back of that left leg stretch, the hamstrings behind the knee. And let's take a side movement. So hold the belt into your left hand, drop your right arm to the right side, and then allow the right knee to move to the right or out to the right, and the left leg to the left. And the more that I go over to the left side, I have to control this a little bit so that I don't flop that leg. So bring attention to your core muscles and press back to your right side, your right hips pressing down. And the left leg strong back into the hip socket, into the left femur into its hip. And all the way up. And we'll do the kind of scissoring movement, the left thigh in front of the right thigh and over to the right side. Just holding the belt into my right hand now. You could squeeze a little bit with the pelvic floor muscles. See if you can engage them. And that will wake up your core muscles a little bit more too. Good. Back to center. And let's release and place the both feet on the floor. Leave off your belt. We're finished with it for the time being. We'll use it later. And then step your feet apart, so as wide as your mat. And let's do a little rotation for your lower spine here, called windscreen wipers. Let your knees drop over to one side, and then back into the center to the other side. Allow your head to rotate if that feels like a good movement for your neck, for your shoulders. And take any pace that you like with this, a little quicker, a little slower. I tend to like to go slowly because I can feel more sensation when I do that. The next time you drop the knees over to one side, then roll onto that side and come all the way up to standing. All right. I like to do a little bit of work for the upper part of your back, for the upper spine in particular, for arms and shoulders. And we'll do this through some slow movements that are moderated by your breath. So let's say you're standing in Tadasana, or perhaps your feet a little bit wider if that makes you feel more stable in your standing position. Relax your shoulders, relax your arms, relax your belly muscles, and soft behind your knees. Actually, let's do a little awareness exercise before we start. Bring your hands up and interlock your hands behind the base of your skull. When your hands rest there just at the bottom of the skull, your head is cradled into your hands. It's a very nice sensation, and you can lean back into that cradle that you've created. And so now if you do a back extension that involves your neck and lift your chin and leaning back into your hands, then you'll still feel like your neck is elongated at the back instead of cranking your head back. So just file away that sensation and bring your head back upright. Release your arms back to your side. So for instance, take your arms straight up towards the ceiling. Maybe we'll call this in Sanskrit Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. And then lean back a little bit and take your head back a little bit, but still feel like your head is cradled. So not taking the head back too far. And then exhale, bring your arms down. Keep taking your arms back behind the line of your body and then turn your palms forward so you're rotating your wrists and your fingers as well. And then scoop your arms back up, palms facing towards the ceiling. And exhale back down. And taking the arms back a little bit further, then rotate through the wrists. You're bringing your little finger forward more than your thumb, bringing the arms all the way up. And feel that neat rotation through your shoulder joints, and probably your wrists and your fingers. And one more round. This is, for me, a natural inhalation and natural exhalation, lowering down, and then coming to rest. Lovely. All right, let's do a lateral movement. So still working through the spine, but also through the rib cage. Lift your right shoulder up towards your right ear, and then bring that right arm up and stretch up. As the right arm extends up, extend the left arm down, and feel that contralateral movement, the arms moving in opposite directions. Lovely. And then bring the left arm up as well, both arms stretching up. Exhale, lower the arms in front of you and back down to your side. We're going to do a shoulder shrug on the left side. So lift your left shoulder up towards your left ear, and then slowly bring that arm up. Inhale that arm up. Take a few breaths there as you extend the arms in opposite directions. Good. And then bringing the right arm up alongside its mate, and exhale both arms to the side. Long breaths. Inhale the right arm up again, left arm down, and then let's do a lean over to the left side. And as you take that into a greater lateral stretch, relax the opposite shoulder, that's your left shoulder. Inhale, come back up to center, both arms up, stretch the both arms up, and exhale, both arms down. One more side, and left shoulder shrug. Bring that arm up. Here's the opportunity to open up the side body, the side of the left lung, the left waist, the left hip, leaning out. Keep your head close to your raised arm, and then back up to the vertical, and both arms up. Reach up, inhale, exhale, arms down by your side. Beautiful. Let's do one more of these, I don't know what to call them. I just call them spinal movements or arm and shoulder movements. Let's take left arm forward, right arm back, and extend the arms away from each other. Let's make this a contralateral movement again, working the opposite sides of the body. So as your left arm is forward, step your right leg forward. Feel the arms extend away from each other. And I'm still looking in the forward direction, not backwards. Beautiful. I'm going to step the right foot back. And as we do that, bring the back arm forward and underneath the left arm. Now you've crossed at the elbows. Bring your hands to tap your shoulders. Drop your elbows, drop your head into a little forward bend. All of a sudden we got much more complicated. And then open the arms out wide to the side. And it's right arm forward, left arm back. We're going to take this into a standing pose a little bit later. And then contralateral movement, step your left foot forward. Good. Maybe you can extend the arms a little bit further. Watch your balance. Good. Looking straight forward. Good. And then we're going to step that left foot back. Bring the back arm forward. Cross under the front arm. Cross at the elbows. Bring your fingertips to your shoulders. Bring your chin down. Bring your elbows down. Round your back and breathe into your back. And then just simply open your arms out to the side. Actually, when your arms are out like this, you can do a little back bend for your upper part of your back. Feel your shoulder blades move in towards the lungs and lift the lungs. Good. And arms straight up. And exhale, arms down by your side. Beautiful. You will need your belt again. So take up your belt and take yourself to a wall space. You may need it, you may not need it. I need it because I'm going to be trying to balance and talk at the same time. Initially, just leave that belt over your shoulders. You don't have to go looking for it. And then back to your wall space. Let's take a one-legged standing position. Let's leave the right leg as your weight-bearing leg and lift up your left knee towards your chest. Good. And as you've done that, then you could probably lift the leg a little bit higher if you clutch the front of the knee or hold the leg. And see if that's so for you. And as you lift the knee a little bit higher, then ground the standing leg a little bit more. Feel that fine work that we did in the foot warm-ups. All the toe bones and foot bones and ankle bones. Beautiful. And then release that leg down. And standing on your own 2 feet, switch the balance of weight onto the left leg. Start to lift your right knee towards your chest, standing tall, and then giving it a little bit more lift. Hold at the front of the knee or hold the thigh bone. And then feel your standing leg and move the left thigh bone into the back of the leg so you're well onto your heel. Beautiful. You've done some lovely work in hip flexion there and standing on your own 2 feet again. And we're ready to do, well, you could say this was a goal pose. I don't know if we're supposed to have goals in yoga, which is Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana, big toe pose. So we're going to lift up that left leg again. Make the right leg, your standing leg, strong, firm the ankle, and then take up your belt onto your left foot. And as you're ready, and as your balance supports you, extend out the leg. Notice if you have a white knuckle grip onto the belt, and soften your grip onto the belt a little bit. And then, like you did with the help of lifting the leg, so you kind of manipulated the leg higher, see if you can press down into your standing foot and lift the leg just that little bit higher. Beautiful. Bend the knee in and release, and steady, standing on 2 feet. Samastiti, steady, standing on 2 feet. And then balance your weight onto your left foot, and let's work the right leg in the same fashion. Lift the knee high before you extend the leg, and then extending the leg. Good, and breathing, of course. And it's very helpful for the hip joint if you move the standing thigh bone, that's your left leg, back into the hamstrings, into the back of the leg. Good. And let's complete in bending that leg and lowering down. And let's go one more round. So the pose has a variation. Let's go back to right leg balancing. Left leg comes up. Pass the belt into your left hand. Draw the tension on the belt and extend the right arm out to the right side, like the tightrope walker. And then extend the left leg left if you can, without leaning to the right side if possible. Just do your best here. And then back to center and releasing. I got a little tense there, maybe you did too, in clutching the belt with that white knuckle grip. So let me see if I can do better on this side. And when you bring your right leg up, we do extension forward, and then holding the belt just into your right hand and extending the left arm left. And then we're opening out. It's always said as a right angle, but our anatomy isn't designed that way. So just taking the leg to the right is good enough. And then back into center and releasing. For the time being, I think we're done with the belt. So leave that off to the side, but we're not quite done with that pose. So sometimes we're exploring poses or playing with them. Let's try one more variation on this pose. Take your weight onto your right leg again. Lift your left knee towards you. Keep the knee high, and then extend the leg out without any support this time. Folding the leg back in, under control, and steady, standing on your 2 feet, and second side. And right knee comes up, and stretches out. You might find a whole group of muscles that you hadn't been using before. I can feel almost a cramp. And then folding that leg back in, and releasing down. And we will stop there for this session with Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. And then let's take downward facing dog pose, which might feel like a resting pose after all that. So from kneeling, and hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, tuck your toes under, and lift from the upper part of your spine first. Dip your chin towards your chest and come in to downward facing dog pose. Keep your knees bent, lift your heels a little bit, and then move your hips back away from your arms and your shoulders. If you'd like for yourself a little more hamstring stretch, then do straighten your legs, lower your heels. And then let's take a complete break in child's pose. So as you're ready, then when you come down and buttocks towards your heels, bring your elbows back and fold your hands and rest your head onto your folded hands. Take a moment as a contrast to what you're doing to let all and every effort go out of your body, and in particular your shoulders and your upper part of your back. Feel your shoulder blades drop out. And unroll from child's pose and come all the way up to standing again. And because you've worked so well with the hamstrings in particular, let's take that into another standing pose. And the pose is Parsvattanasana. So I'm going to use 2 blocks for this. You could have a chair in front of you to rest your hands on, or some of you might take your hands all the way to the floor. But in any case here, we'll have right foot forward, left foot back. And for me to use my 2 blocks, I'll have them just on the outside of my right foot. Right foot is forward, left foot is back. Have a look at your feet. This part's really important. If you get the right distance, then you have a lot of stability in the pose. So we want to have a little bit of space between the tops of the thighs, and that gives ease for the sacroiliac joint. So take your asymmetrical stance, right foot forward, left foot back, and then bring your arms all the way up to the ceiling and lean back into your back leg. And just wake up the back leg as it has to support you a little bit more. If you take your head up, remember that cradle that you created at the back of at the base of your skull. Lift up a little bit there. And then exhale. Let's do a dive forward and bring your arms forward and down. And then pause there. So instead of going into complete flexion of your spine or rounding of your spine, keep the spine relatively straight by lifting up from your wrists to your armpits and bringing your chest forward. And as we keep the top chest open here and pressing forward, it's almost like there's a little back bending in the upper part of the back, the shoulder blades towards the front of the chest. And then anchor the right foot really strongly. Bend the right knee a little bit. You're going to come up, if you can, with your arms overhead. Inhale all the way up. And exhale down. And exchange left foot forward, right foot back. So like we did in that staged version of big toe pose, we're going to take this in stages too. So feel into your 2 feet. Inhale your arms up. And feel a little bit more into the back leg. Stabilize that leg. Exhale, go forward, outward, and downward. Where the bend is coming is from the top of the left thigh. And then we're just going to keep the pose nice and light. So lift up and draw the chest forward and outward away from the hips. All right, flex the left knee a little bit, push into the left foot, inhale your arms up, exhale down to your side, and right foot to left, and left foot back. So the potential for the movement of the upper back, two simple movements. One is the back bending. If you bring your arms up, you can feel that. You lean back into your back leg and that back bending movement. But the other movement is rounding the back into a forward bend. So let's take that pose this time and exhale forward and outward and down. And then coming into your forward bend as much as you like here, or as little if that doesn't agree with your body at the moment. And the back, the upper back rounds, and chin towards the jugular notch. And it's quite possible you'll really feel your hamstrings. I can feel them here. And just for the last part here, draw the abdominal area up into the body, that abdominal wall. And then flex the right knee a little bit, push into your right footprint. And if you can, bring your arms all the way up, or bring your hands to your hips if you need to. Inhale up, exhale down, change your feet. All right, so we know the pathway pretty well, and the feeling in the upper part of the back. So arms come up, that little back bend for the dorsal thoracic, and then casting the arms out and long and coming forward and all the way down. Keep the weight strong on the inside of the left foot, big toe pressing down, inner left heel, outer right foot presses down to stabilize the back leg, and then the rounding of the back, if that feels like a safe and good movement for your spine. Sometimes you hit a stride and you don't want to come out of a pose, but I will. Flex the left knee a little bit, press into the left foot, bring your arms forward and up or onto your hips. Inhale and exhale down. And big step forward. Tadasana. And arms loose by your side. Relax behind your knees. Soften your shoulders. Just looking out towards the horizon. All right, I've got one more standing pose in my teaching kit for today. So we're going to use the wall for this one too, and it seems to work very well. So a block will be handy for this at some point, but we're just going to do the warm-up that we did in the previous poses. So I'm going to be using the wall again and be side on to the wall. So my right hip facing the wall and my left foot, I'm going to step it forward. So we're asymmetrical again, left foot forward, right foot back, using the wall. And you'll find this is for your upper body flexibility. All right, so once you've got that left foot forward, right foot back, you're going to just turn your head and your chest away from the wall. And then, like you did in the warm-up exercise, extend your arms out sideways from your shoulders, palms downwards. Good. And as simple as that. Then keep your stability and extend out over your front leg. Extend that right arm forward. And coming down partially, so going outwards and down a little bit. And we're just doing a warm-up. Inhale, come all the way back up. And lower your arms. And change directions. So your left side facing the wall, your right foot forward. Do a lean back into your left leg. So that left leg is very supportive of you, as the same as the right. And then open your arms out wide. Extend the arms out wide. And then we're just going to do that slight movement outwards, leading with the left arm. Right arm's behind you. And coming just a little ways towards the ground. Good. Inhale and come up. And releasing and back to the original side. And we'll take this to lower down completely. And I'm going to bring my hand onto a block that I have placed in front of my left foot on the high end, in front of my big toe. All right, and then all the other steps one by one. So left leg's forward, right leg back. Extend the arms out sideways from your shoulders. And then lead with that right arm. I'm just sliding along the wall, and I've got the wall for balance and support. And then right hand comes down onto the block. I'm going to keep my left hand onto my left hip. And then I can bring my left shoulder back, my left elbow back. Now, at this point, you may or choose not to use the wall for balance. That's up to you. And just in this final movement here, well, it's actually not the final movement, we'll have one more round, then turn away from the wall. It's kind of like you're trying to turn yourself inside out from the right side to the left side. And bring your head back a little bit towards the wall, lift the crown of your head, and then anchor your feet really strongly, flex your front knee. Inhale, come up. Can you come up with your arms out to the side again? Maybe not. And then exhale, lower your arms, change sides. Now I've planned ahead, and I've got my double set of blocks. So I've got one on this side too, in front of my right foot, big toe, and then extend the arms out wide to the side. Feel into your back leg, stabilize that back leg, and then slide along. And the further out you go, then you begin to come down, and left hand onto the block. Right hand, right hip, or you can extend the right arm up towards the ceiling. That's up to you. And then that movement away from the wall from your left shoulder blade, left ribs, right elbow back, right shoulder back. And then to release from the pose, soften the front knee, press into your footprint, inhale and come up. And exhale, lowering the arms. And one more round, and back to the original side. We can do this. And left foot forward, right foot back. Okay, and starting out with the arms wide, sliding out, releasing down. And this time I will take my arms to extend away from each other. Left leg straight above my left shoulder. Left arm straight above my left shoulder. Good. Last part, what to do with your neck and your head. Bring your head back a little bit towards the back body and lift the crown of the head so the neck is elongated again. Okay, lovely work. And then inhale and come up. And last side. That might be music to your ears now, last side. And it's right foot forward, left leg back. Arms wide. Move out over the front leg. And then when you release down, that right arm extended up above your right shoulder. Feel into your back leg. Keep turning as much as you can from your left shoulder blade, from the left side of your body. And then stabilize that front foot. Bend your knee a little bit. Inhale, bring yourself back up. Wide arms. Exhale, lower your arms and step the back foot in. And well done. Take your 2 blocks. I have in mind, I would like to do here some preparation for a couple of back bends. And one of the best preparations is a lunge. So I'm going to use my blocks and take a kneeling position. And the 2 blocks on the high end in front of me. In my up kneeling position, I'm ready to move into a lunge, right foot forward. And if I rest my hands onto the top of the blocks here, then I can see really easily I need to have a wider angle behind that front knee. So nudge your right foot forward. You're going to have an obtuse angle behind that knee then. Then pick up your back foot, that's your left foot, and move it further to the left. So instead of it crossing your body to the right side, in reverse, take the left foot a little further to the left. Press the top of that foot, and like you did when you were supported in Parsvattanasana, draw up from your wrist to your armpits and lead with your breastplate. Start to flex your front knee. As you bend that front knee, if this is working the same way for you, the back thigh is stretching. The left quadricep gets a good stretch. And the psoas muscle too. And then let's release with as much control as possible and stepping right foot back, right knee back, and left foot forward. Take a generous step forward because you're going to do a knee bend on that left knee. And then lift the back foot and step it over a little bit further to the right side. Good. Press the little toe side of your right foot. And then see if you can lower down a little bit more by bending the front knee. Maybe to stretch the right quadricep that a little bit more, tighten the right buttock. Good. Step back, left foot. And we'll have one more round, right foot forward. Just that movement of bringing the leg forward is a really good practice in hip flexion. So sometimes we get very stiff in the hip joints. So we want to keep that well lubricated. And then tuck the toes of the back foot under. Left foot toes tuck under. We're going to lift up that knee, straighten the back leg, keep moving the breastplate forward. Good. As you lower the left knee and a little thoughtful planning, we're going to bring the right leg back and left leg forward. All right, and now the next step is straightening the leg if you can. It's fine to work just with the knee onto the floor at the same time, but I'm going to take that next step and straighten the back leg. See if you can take a little bit of the heaviness off your hands and draw up from your hands to your shoulders, and then dropping that knee and left knee back. And it probably wouldn't go astray here to do a child's pose in the same way that we did before, and folding your arms and resting your head onto your folded hands. Now we've done some really lovely preparation for a couple of simple back bends. So from here, just lie, belly down, lengthen out onto your mat. Fold your arms again and rest your head onto your hands. And then just jiggle your hips, rock your hips side to side so it feels like your buttock muscles are completely relaxed. Separate your feet. How far apart to have your feet and your legs? Find the place where it feels like your lower back releases and your sacrum feels free. So I'm going to have my feet slightly apart. And then come on to your elbows or your forearms. And when you've done that, when you lift up your head and your chest and you're on your forearms like this, you're already into a little bit of a back bend. But we want to take that into the upper part of the back where we've been working through a few of the other poses. So create a sensation through your forearms that you're pulling your elbows back towards your waist. And the more that the elbows, they may not even move back, just the sensation there. The more that you do that, the more you can press your breastplate forward. Keep your weight on the little toe side of your foot. You might want to lift your knees here so that the buttocks are toned. Beautiful. And lowering down, begin to slide your hands back so that your fingers rest underneath your shoulders. And then you've arranged yourself just really beautifully for cobra pose. Bring your elbows in close to your side and stretch your elbows back and towards the floor, and then begin to do your lift off. Head comes up, chest comes up. Come up any amount that suits your back at this moment. But do bring your back bend into your upper part of your back by pressing your shoulder blades towards your lungs. Feel your lungs come forward and up, and look up. And lowering back down. And fold your arms and rest your head onto your hands, either turn to the side or just onto your forehead. All right, last of these simple back bends. Bend your legs, heels towards your buttocks, looking very much like the preparation for Dhanurasana, the bow pose, and then reach back one hand, the other hand. Before you think about coming up, set yourself up well. Picture the direction that you're going is all upwards, and as much lift in that upward direction as you can. And then as you're ready, lifting the head, chest, and thigh bones off the floor. Squeeze the elbows into the center line of your body. Keep breathing. All upward, lifting up, raising up, and then release down to the floor and fold your arms again. Drop your legs behind you and be still for a moment and let any back bend effort go out of your body. Shoulders, upper back, lower back especially, and buttocks. Take a couple of deeper breaths where the exhalation is like a sigh of letting go. And we've done well there with those very simple back bends. Let's come all the way up to standing for a counter pose. Along the way, take up a block. All right, and in your stance, have your feet hip-width apart. And what to do with the block, take it into your left hand and place it at an arm's length distance from you in front of your left foot on the high end. And you've set yourself up well for a lateral twist. And from this position, take a forward bend, like Uttanasana, from the tops of your thighs. And then reach that left hand out to the top of the block. Pause there for a second. Drop your head. And bring your right arm across to the outside of your left leg and hold the calf muscle on the outside with your right hand. When you've done that and you flex your right elbow, you can begin to lower down a little bit further, but also rotate to the left side. So both elbows bending, and as much as you can turning. Maybe you're looking under your left arm at the moment. Good. Let it go. Bend your knees and come all the way up to standing. And I planned ahead. I've got the block in front of my right foot now. Take your forward bend, Uttanasana. Reach the right hand onto the block. Move it out a little bit if you like. And then take that left arm, left hand over to the outside of your right calf muscle. Get a good grip onto it. And then flex that left elbow. It's as though you're moving in two directions. So the left elbow moving down and bringing your trunk down on that side, and then look to the right side underneath your right arm. Turn your ribs, turn your chest. Good. And then releasing, bend your knees, inhale and come up. And all the way up. Okay, and I have a chair here, which is going to be very nice for one more twisting pose, counter pose to the back bends and the standing poses. So I'm going to sit opposite to the way that we normally sit on chairs and straddle the chair and face the high part of the chair. I've got my chair about 1.5 meters away from the wall. And the kind of rotation that this gives you is predominantly for your shoulders and your upper part of your back, not so much for your hips and your lower back. So here I've got this rather odd position, and my feet wider than the chair legs, and the important part is that your feet feel grounded. Then bring just your left arm onto the top of the chair, and bring your right arm out to the side, and turn to the right as much as you can, and see if you can reach back. I can place my fingertips onto the wall here. And when you've done that and you've done your turning, then take stock for a moment. Did you lean forward towards the back of the chair, or did you lean back to the wall? And then straighten up your posture, so good yoga posture, and looking back over your right shoulder. Good, let's go the other way, and switching right arm supported onto the top of the chair. Left arm, bring it out from your shoulder, and then bring that left arm back behind the line of your body. You did a little bit in the twisting triangle pose like this, and extending the arms in opposite directions, and looking back over your left shoulder, and breathing. And it's such a lovely twist we'll see if we can take it a little deeper on one more round, and switching left arm supporting onto the chair, right arm back behind you. Straightening up your posture, so neither leaning in. If you're using the wall like this, it gives you an opportunity. Flex the right elbow, and that's going to let you turn the upper body just a little bit more with that leverage. All right, last side. And going left. Good. Sitting tall, chest lifted, shoulders relaxed, and then using the wall for a little bit more leverage, press into your left hand, flex that left elbow, and turn the dorsal thoracic. Good work. And then facing the back of the chair, fold your arms and just do a little bit of a forward bend and rest your head onto your folded arms. I've said this earlier, let all the effort go out of your upper back, your shoulders. Let your head be supported, relax your forehead. Now, because we have the chair, come on up and let's use it for chair shavasana. So I happen to have a blanket here. Which will give me a little bit of padding on the chair, so blanket onto the seat of the chair. And you may need another blanket to support your head and your back of your neck. And I encourage you, if you have something to cover your eyes, that's a really useful thing to do. So chair shavasana means that you can be in a little bit of an elevation with your lower legs supported onto the seat of the chair. When you lie your torso down, so you've got the support of your mat and the floor. Your lower legs supported with that little bit of elevation, and the thigh bones just hang loosely from the knee down into the hip joint. So I have an eye covering here, and we'll take the next 5 minutes in Shavasana. So give yourself time to arrange your body so that you feel you're at your utmost comfort. When you do that, and you take time to do that, and you're committed to being as comfortable as you can, it's a practice in self-care. Whereas you've been directed in various ways through the class today, then this is where you give yourself your own direction. Shavasana, taking time for yourself. So I have an instinct to rest my hands over the navel center. So you might try that as a variation and just rest one hand above the navel, one hand below the navel. And through the sense of touch, allowing the abdominal area to relax a little bit more. The diaphragm relaxed. The internal organs relaxed. And to relax all of your senses, focus on your eyes first. Allow the eyes to rest in their individual hollows, right eye, left eye, and soften right down. Relax the corners of your nose. Your lips. And all of the internal mouth, the tongue. Relax your ears from the outside and along the inner channels of your ears, where sound is conducted to your brain. And relax the brain itself. The brain being composed of cells and tissues, like any other organ of your body. Now, it would be fine if you wanted to stay here a little longer, but I'm going to begin to move out of the relaxation. So just build up the momentum of the breath a little bit, so that when you move, you can roll over onto your side and just rest there for a few more beats. And then beginning to move to come up to a seated position. Take your time. Take your own sweet time. And sitting in kneeling position or cross-legged position to complete the session. Bringing your hands up and placing them center chest in front of your heart center. Lift your elbows a little bit so that once again you're sitting tall and proud, relaxed. Incline your head towards your heart and feel what we do in these sessions when we do yoga practice, and especially together, is fund a particular kind of energy. So that we can take that into the world and share it with everyone. Namaste. Thank you.